Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining AJEPC and Jean on this meeting. We will try to do this in 1 hour. So for the first half an hour, we will have the speakers, each of one speaking about the entities they represent. And then on the second half an hour, they will answer some questions. I ask you that you write the questions on the chat window. You should write your name, country, the question, and to whom you want to address it. And then I will make it on the second half an hour. Please do not turn your microphones on because it will make everything get more complicated. So have them off the whole time, please. As for the picture, you are welcome to have it on if you want. It's nicer to look at the computer that has a lot of faces and not a lot of black rectangles, but you can choose whatever you wish to do. So we will start with Michael Yang. He's the president of Shenzhen Overseas Veterinarians Association from China. He will speak a little bit about what Zocra does and what's the business environment in Shenzhen. So I pass the word to you, Michael, please.
All right, thanks. First of all, thank you, Alberto, for inviting me to join this event. And I'm always happy and pleasant to be with him. So talk about Shenzhen NOCRA. So our full name is Shenzhen Overseas Chinese Veterinarians Association. So our association is aimed to help the overseas returned Chinese. So which means they are mostly studied abroad and come back to China to work and continue their life of living. And so I started this association about 13 years ago in 2008. And so because I was one of them, and I felt like there were not much of us back then, back to that time. So I started this association. So for the past 13 years, we've been doing a lot of events, and they're mainly focused on like social events, social networking, business matchmaking, and also job finding. Okay, we help people to find a lot of jobs, and also to help them to find like capitals. Okay, find investments for their startups. And so far we have covered around 300,000 members globally, and of course most of them they're already in China, but still there were about 5% of them still around the globe, still studying or maybe working in different countries. And our members, they're most of them, I think about 13% of them are in the field of finance, okay, and also a lot of them are doing IT and internet services and industry, and also real estate industry, and also the service industry. So that's what they're mostly doing. And because a lot of us are here, well, we had foreign educations, so we act like a bridge for our country, and bridging the country to different part of the world. So our slogan or our mission of the association is we connect the world. So we hope that we can be the connector for the country to make the country more understandable globally. Okay, and that's what we've been doing for the past 13 years as well. And I'm not sure how much time I have. So do I speak for 10 minutes or for how long? Okay, right. So so the association, we have got around about 30 full-time employees. So, you know, they help overseas Chinese returnees every day on their job findings, finding investment, matchmaking, and networking. And we have our own app, and you know, for the members to connect. And also, because you know, because of the pandemic, we cannot organize as much offline event as you know, as before. So not last year we made about around 50 events, okay, small and big ones, you know, throughout the whole year after around April. But normally, like in 2018 and 2019, we organize about 600 events a year, but most of them are social events, small, medium social events. But the big events are, for example, we organize the biggest job fair for overseas Chinese returnees in China. And we also organize one of the biggest, startup congress for overseas Chinese returnees in Shenzhen city. And we help for the past about 9 years. We have helped about 300 projects to find their investment in our event. And in total, we have got about in US dollar, it's about 20 around 30 million US dollar, okay, in total for those projects, okay, because most of them are you know, startup companies, so they are quite kind of they're still small, so they're not looking for big money, but to really to start their business. So most of them, they are angel funds, okay. And personally, I'm doing a smart city and a security electronic industry. So if anyone is interested in you know, smart city projects, security technology projects, and also AI technologies, okay, I'm into that. Okay, so let me know what, and let's see what we can do together. And I also really hope to work with you guys. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Michael. So now I'm going to introduce Un. Un is part of, oh, I didn't say at the beginning, but I am part of AJEPC. I am the executive director of AJEPC. Un is also part of AJEPC. She is the vice president of the General Assembly, and she's going to speak a little bit about the work we do. Un?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Actually, I'm now in Macau, but it was mute, so I keep on.
Sorry.
I was lucky. I joined AJEPC, which is how to say English, Young Entrepreneur Association, Portugal, China, 3 years ago. But it was not the first association that I joined. I started joining associations since I was 20, and now I'm a member of 5. But it is number which make me proud. But being part of association which really makes impact, really motivate me. As we may notice, there are a lot of associations created just for the entitlement without providing services or activities, but we are not. In Portugal, China Young Entrepreneur Association, it was not the first association in Portugal which works for the context between Portugal and China, but we are the most active one, I should say, especially in the promotion of relationship between of young entrepreneurs between China and Portugal, using Macau as a platform. Why we are important, in my opinion, I think every association, when they created, they have a mission, including us. And our role is acting like a platform. For the one hand, link business to business. And on the other hand, we also bring consumers or investors to the business. And moreover, most of the time, we have opportunities to talk with authorities and government to share the difficulties and the reality of entrepreneurs which they are facing in order to get more insight and to open more doors for them. Since 2012, we have organized hundreds of events, including conference, debates, or exhibitions, both in Portugal and China relation. Our efforts have been recognized not only by our members, but also the authorities, the governments, especially the Macau government. And it is not surprising that we are always invited to join or to participate in a lot of international events. I think this access to these events and opportunities are very important for us to open door for the entrepreneurs and to investors. And on the other hand, later I will explain a little bit what which type of events that we organize, which are the big one. But I think most of the people here today, you are interested in this topic because you may think that which platform that you should enter and what you can take advantage if you join any of our association. And actually, when I joined or when I accept this event, I thought a little bit. Uh, if I am an entrepreneur, if I were an entrepreneur, and if I look at different association, I think it is important that being an association, it can create various or it is easier to have a team or to have a group of people, they share the same will, same goal, and they join together in order to get more access of information and to get more funding. Funding in this case, I may say, if we join an event together, many of times we can request funding from the government to have some discounts in our trip or in our event, which is really important for the small business especially. And in AJEPC, we have been doing a lot of things, a lot of important events. The most important one in Portugal is called FIND, Feira Internacional de Negócios, which is organized annually in the north, in Porto or Matosinhos. Which is one of the biggest events to promote networking and business matching. And in Macau, we are also a very good partner of the Macau government. Every year, we bring hundreds of businessmen or entrepreneurs to go to Macau to share their products, their services in order to access China. This type of opportunities, I just mentioned these two, which are the biggest one, but we have a lot of them, including this one today. These type of events are very important for the people who really want to know the other part of the world, because in the case of China, it is too big. A lot of people, they don't know which is the right person to contact, which are the good city to enter, or which is the best place for their trade. So I think we are taking an important role as a platform and to share this type of information with them. And even during the pandemic, actually, I think everyone or every business was affected by the pandemic, but we still keep on organizing a lot of events visually, especially thanks for the help of Carolina. We are able to maintain our activities. And we expect that in the future, especially after the comprehensive agreement between China and European Union, which was agreed at the end of last year, and there are a lot of opportunities will be analyzed and will be addressed and will be developed. I have a lot of confidence that in the future Portugal will continue be a great gateway for Chinese investment to come here in order to access Europe. And on the other hand as well, after the signature of this agreement, China will open its door as well to allow European countries to investing there without the period obstacles. So I'm very confident in terms of Portugal-China relation and European-China relation. Will continue to make our efforts to provide a lot of information and opportunities for our entrepreneurs. And I will discuss later for more details if you want.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you. So Paulo Jan is the president of Federation Sinop-LPE, which gathers countries from the Portuguese-speaking countries and the Spanish-speaking countries. So Paulo, tell us a little bit about how many countries make part of the federation and how can the federation help people that want to work in this axis between Europe and China?
It's over 25. Well, is it my sound or did I hear like a robotic sound? Was it just
No,
me?
it's fine.
Okay.
The sound is good.
All right. So it's over 25 countries, and we have it's a federation. It's an association, but it's not an association in the sense that it gathers people, but it gathers other associations. So the people who attend our meetings are usually the presidents of these associations that kind of form part of the Federação Sinop-LPE. And yeah, we have representatives in over 25 countries and over 50 entities, which is really diverse in my opinion. And it's good because our aim kind of depends on having the maximum amount of associations with different goals as possible, because really what we're trying to do is to create bridges between different people and different associations in different countries, because the population that we serve in theory is over 2 billion people, because we want to cater to all the people who speak either Chinese, Portuguese, and Spanish, and these are huge markets. And the thing that basically I think we are trying to do and trying to help other associations with is to create links between when they come from one country to another country. So if you're like an association, say, or an entity or a company or whatever, say in China, and you're trying to reach, you know, someone in Mexico or in Brazil, you know, it's not the most obvious way. It's not a very obvious thing to do. You don't really know how to do it unless you really reach someone local. And our aim is to help. You know, it's kind of obvious that we live in a globalized environment nowadays, and it's really, really normal for Chinese goods try to reach the West and Western services try to reach China. And in that sense, I think we have a really important role here in stepping in and trying to make people in, you know, point A reach people in point B and create these links. And this is what Federação Sinop-LPE is all about. And as for our role within the associations that are part of Federação Sinop-LPE, we take like more of a supportive role whenever they do these events, because we want to be part of the solution of whatever problems that they're trying to solve. And I think that's really rewarding. So Un was just referencing a couple of events that AJEPC organizes throughout the year, whether it is in Brazil, in Portugal, or in Macau. Federação Sinop-LPE usually lends supporting part in these events. And yeah.
Okay, Paulo, thank you so much. I will now pass the time to Alberto. Alberto is here today, even though most of the people know him as president of AJEPC. Alberto is here today because he is also the president of JEN. He took over JEN in January this year. And so he will speak a little about the work that JEN does in Europe and how JEN can help to reach Europe and also to help Europeans to reach China.
Hello, hi everyone. Hi to my colleagues. It's a pleasure to speak here with so friendly faces here and names, and also with the friends like Michael, Hun, and Paulo, friends from a long time. Today I'm here, like Karina said, under the umbrella of JAN. JAN is the European organization for entrepreneurs, but also for the entrepreneurial associations. Was created in 1994. Right now, we are the biggest association in Europe for young entrepreneurs. We cover more than 28 countries. We are more than 1.5 million young entrepreneurs in Europe. And our goals is to work on different levels, from cultural, social, and economic projects. We have divided always between our pillars on the community, on policies and incentives, and also on networking. I can say a little bit about the way that we join under JAN, we see a little bit internal our all countries, but also the relations with North Africa, Latin America, and with Asia, with a strong position with China. So for us, we understand that we need to work all together and try to cooperate. Because of that, is very important also between the relation between JAN and the Federation Sinop LPA, because the Federation have a very strong position with Latin America. And with Michael Zhang, also a very good relation, because with overseas Chinese associations, JAN is making also a very good work through AJEPC, because it was AJEPC that started these links mostly with all these associations. So AJEPC started in 2012, started very early with the JAN and YES groups, so the two biggest associations in Europe, and 2015. And AJEPC was started at the Federation, and also we joined JAN. I was the vice president for the last 3 years in JAN. My task force was a typical task force for a Portuguese guy. So was mostly to solving problems. When there was some problems between some countries or associations, normally that was the position. That so my position on vice presidency was to solve conflicts, and also to try to get some diplomatic increase outside of Europe, mostly with Asia. So under JAN, we have the definition of entrepreneurs. So here in Europe, we have completely different definition. There are countries where a young entrepreneur is still 35. There are countries still 40. There are countries that is still 45. So we are working also on that. We are also working on political aspects, like in Brussels, for like I was telling, on the way of Europe, but also speaking about the neighborhood and also other regions, how to engage with other regions. And there we are, for example, creating a status for the definition that we started now in January, the definition of entrepreneur, but also the protection on Europe about entrepreneurs. So if we record, for example, a few years ago, accountings and lawyers, they didn't were so strong position, like they are not working so close. And now they have social security, they have their own all service related. And what we are doing under now in Europe is to try to get protection for entrepreneurs, and the protection that give us the social security that support us. We are creating the card of JAN. This card of JAN have agreements with banks, have agreements with airlines, have agreements with hotels. Under this card will be a protection for the banks also, to support the startups. And the startups, that is something that is always very difficult to start a business without anyone to believe on us, because if we don't have the background, if we don't have a godfather or someone, a very big company on our back, will be always very hard, very difficult to start to raise the first 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 euros. So under JAN, we are really committed with that. We are also committed with many task force. So since I started the presidency, instead of 3 task force, we doubled that. We right now, we have 7 vice presidents. And for the 7 vice presidents, each one of them, they have 1 to 3 task force internally that goes from the environment sector, for example, to the human rights. So we are really committed in Brussels, but also we are doing a general assembly per month. We are trying to get more people involved. And also we are supporting an event that was started also with the support of AJEPC and co-organized with the Federation and with JAN, that was launched by SIC, Centro Internacional de Cultura, that was the business rail. And that business world is really important for us in Europe because it's the first event that we organize and that we are putting on the back of the history some disagreements between many associations in Europe, from Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and Western Europe. So this business world event is the event that we go on the train and we stop city by city. And Portugal was the pilot project, was very successful 3 years ago. And we made these trips, and on the trip we have a clock that is with the time, and we have 5 minutes to get a speed meeting with the person next to us. Then we need to move, and then we stop in another city. We change people. We go to the events. We have the mayors. We have institutional also meetings there. So it's a quite different event, and that we are coordinating for 2024 to become the business run from Europe to China. Right now, we already did 2 business runs in China. Was very successful, and that was already from Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen. Of course, Michael Yang was a very good support there in Shenzhen. Then Shenzhen, some groups went to Hong Kong and other ones went to Guangzhou. And then we finished in Macau for the exhibition that AJEPC was also co-organizer on the MIF. That was one of the events that Un also told. That is very important for all these united relations between all the associations. And we are really focused on the European Union policies because we need to think about reduce also the taxations for the young entrepreneurs. So we are really committed with that. Also this year that this first 6 months that Portugal got the presidency of Europe, we are doing lots of pressure on that. Next week, we will get another event. Will be a webinar with the Vice Minister of International Affairs from Portugal and with 2 European parliaments and with the Foreign Minister of Economy of Romania. And that is something that we are trying to push hard. Every 2 weeks, we are webinars, we are speaking, and the young entrepreneurs, because we need to create our European ideal, and we need to work together because in Europe we are not together. 3 years ago, I was invited by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from China for a workshop that was European Young Leaders. And when I went there, I was a very intensive meetings because it was 2 weeks with the new ambassadors of China. And because of that, the associations are very good on this case because giving us the link to the institutions and also to people that later on can make the difference. And that was very funny because on that time, the new ambassadors that were starting, and there was 20 young leaders from different countries. And I remember that they thought that we are like United States, that we are like a federation. And I remember that we are discussing there. I was a Spanish guy, Carlos Sentis, that now also is member from JAN, and also Barros from Finland. And we are discussing some things. And for us, the problem of one wasn't the problem of the other one. So we didn't really care about that on that time when we are thinking about Europe. And I'm saying that because we have big problems right now in Europe. We have Ukraine, and we have the problems that right now in Belarus, and no one is looking for that. And these problems that is very close to us. And under JAN, we are very deep and committed with that. Because of that, I can tell you here officially that we didn't accept yet to make the business well from China to Europe because the sponsorship was coming from Russia. And if we do that, then was saying that we allow and we accept what was happening right now. And we cannot do that. So our association is so strong on that diplomatic way that we need to be focused and we need to be understanding what is the way and the way that we see the world, the way that we see Europe, and we need to focus to work together. And on diplomatic sense, we need to be careful also because when we go left or right, we really don't care because we are in a new century. I believe that in political ways, we still focus on 100 years ago, everything changed, but in the political ways, we still sometimes very narrow-minded in some things. And we need to adapt to the new days, and also we need to adapt to the new world and to the potential. And to the potential, we need to work together. We know that there was already 2 big wars. So if we work together more closely between the big potentials, if we work more closely between Europe, China, United States, we will believe that we can avoid lots of problems in the future. So one of the projects that we have, for example, in Jan is very cool project, was launched by a Spanish guy that is make a friend per week. So that's a webinar that we put a kid from India speaking with a Pakistani, then we put someone from Australia speaking with someone in France. So is making friends. And if we have friends all over the world, then of course we're going to try to be much more peaceful. And of course we're going to try to make much more equilibrate relations between everyone and standard also. But one of the things that we are trying to do very committed in Europe and in Jan is to try to reduce the taxation for the young entrepreneurs to the lower scale, because and we should be united. So for the first 3 years of a startup, and when I say startup, I'm not meaning that is something on technologies, okay? Startup can be someone that is starting a new business on agriculture, or can starting a new business, for example, in e-commerce online. At this moment, what we are discussing now under Jan, okay? Because like I was telling from the very beginning, the definition of young entrepreneurs is really different between Europe in all the countries, okay? Doing so, I would like to say also that it's really important, this cooperation, and even a very big association like Jan counts with a very active association that are much more smaller, like AJEPC, but that are very, very active associations. I don't know, AJEPC was founded in 2012. Carolina will tell us how many events already participated and co-organized. I really don't know at this moment. There was
more than 300. We are reaching 320 something.
Yeah, so it's, you see
and this last year has been a very slow year.
Yeah, last year also doesn't, for most of the people also doesn't exist also. It was very complicated year. Yeah. But also, I would like to say that under Jan, we're going to do lots of events. One of the biggest events that we're going to participate now will be a webinar in the Reguengos in Alqueva. That will be in June. That will be very important because we'll be discussing some strategic points on environment. And for Europe, it's very important for us to start in focus on that, because unfortunately, we are one more thing that is with the water concerns, with the environment, and with the energy, green energy. We need to be focused for the strategy, not for 4 years political times, but we need to think about 20 years. And that is the big difference between Europe and China. China is a strategic, China is thinking strategical, China invests with a mindset. And in Europe, unfortunately, we are not like that. We are thinking about 2 years. Normally is starting something, then, okay, we lose again, then we go to elections, then we review again, okay? So that is really important for the young European leaders to start changing the mindset on that. And of course, I'm not saying that that the other cases are much better than ours. I think that we need to adapt and we need to find the cultural and also to the relations. But it's not a perfect model anywhere. So, but we need to look to everyone and to try to get the best in each point. And doing so, we're going to grow up all together. I think that I've already made a very big introduction. So, Carolina, I give you now the word and probably some questions.
Okay, thank you, Alberto. Michael, are you there? We're going to start to make the questions that people post at the chat. So yes. For you, Michael, and actually, yep. I know how to answer this one, but I will let you reply. Rosina Ramos from Portugal, because when you spoke about the app that Socra has to put everyone in contact, and she's asking what is this app and how can she reach you?
Yeah, as I replied a little bit in the chat section, so I normally use WeChat, but also well, you can reach me with WhatsApp as well. But you know, mostly I use WeChat because it's a universal messenger in China right now. Yes, and yes, of course you can send me emails. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But the app that you have as Socra, I saw it once that some members were here. It's an app that allows everyone inside your association to speak with each other, right?
Yes,
like
we
a
we
closed
have an app
circuit for
yeah.
people from members from soccer.
Yes. Yeah, we have an app especially just made for our members and also overseas Chinese returnees.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Now to Paulo, also from Rosina. Thank you, Rosina, for making the talk more interesting. What are you doing with the youth of Chinese people living in Portugal and Spain to foster their associative skills?
Actually, I'm not quite sure what.
No,
yeah.
now it's Paulo. Michael, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yes, it's a funny question because it kind of also reflects a little bit upon my personal history with the associations. Some people here have known me for a long time, namely Un and Alberto, and also you, Carolina. And when I first started to getting to know these people, I was working with youth associations instead of young entrepreneur associations. And I was in my early 20s, and I think that's like the normal thing to do for someone who is in his early 20s and wants to kick off with the association, with a career in associations and such. But as you start growing older and your priorities also shift a little bit, and that's when a lot of people came in and talked to me a little bit about how I should probably do something more than just work with youth associations. And Alberto had a really frank talk to me and saying, you probably should work with young entrepreneur associations because there's a lot that you can contribute to. And I think that kind of speaks a little bit to what the philosophy of our associations are, which is whenever we see a young person who has a really, accurate, really important associative skills, we don't want to see it go to waste. So we kind of approach that person and try to redirect that person to an association that we think that fits him, or he fits that association, and trying to bring him along, because obviously it's not everyone who has the same kind of associative mind. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paulo. Now to Pedro from Portugal asks, how different is the regulatory environment concerning new business in Macau compared to the Portuguese European one and in China as a country? This is a very technical question.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if Pedro know, but I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer qualified in Portugal. But yeah, generally speaking, I can say European. I think most of us may know that the regulatory environment is one of the most restricted in the world. So Portugal, it's a bit of United Union, European Union, lots of laws, the regulations and legislations of European Union. So we can find a lot of similarities. And comparing to Macau, and now currently I'm working in a law firm in Macau. We have also office in Lisbon and Hong Kong. And my experience tells me that the legislation are very similar, but Macau is a little bit old-fashioned. So most of the law, they are still very old. They are Portuguese one based on the Portuguese law, but they did not do a lot of update. So in this sense, they are different from Portugal, but the root, the origin is from Portuguese law. And comparing to Chinese one, China, in this jurisdiction, we also applies the civil law on the context of common law. Meaning that the written law will be the base for this jurisdiction. And most of the law, we can find a lot of similarity, German law, French law, and Portuguese law. I may say this similarity is not does not mean that we can find the same rules, same norms. But what I want to say is that the mindset, the principles are very similar, especially in the civil code, in the criminal law, in the business law, we can find the system is very similar. We also have Sociedad por Cuota, Sociedad Anónima. We can find a lot of similarity. And in terms of, I think in Europe, it is in principle, it is free for foreign investments. We don't have, most of the case, we don't have discrimination between the foreign investors and domestic investors, but except some sensitive sectors, I may say maybe energy, telecom, some of them the government will have more concern, but as a general rule, it is free for business. In Macau, it is also the same. And in Macau is very low, so it has been attract a lot of companies to have a back office in Macau to support their business in China. And in China, for the foreign investments, actually, it is not easy until now, I may say, because as I mentioned, the comprehensive agreement signed between China and European Union was made at the end of last year in December, but they are still finalizing the wording, and they will sign it at the end, maybe hopefully in this year or next year. But what I want to say is, before this agreement, there have been a lot of restriction for foreign investments to enter China, especially for the strategic sector, energy, cars, or a lot of technological companies. When they want to do business in China, or they have to create a drive or held by other Chinese company. So a local content have to present in order to do business there. So Michael, corrects me if I'm wrong, but it is the general idea that we have. But I think after that agreement between China and European Union, this phenomenon will change a lot, as I by the reasons that I have already mentioned. So let's see. I think the business environment in China will become more and more open. It is also the mission of the Chinese government. We always stress the win-win solution. And I hope that for the Portuguese audience, that I think with the most part of our audience today, most of us, I think, I have been seeing that most of the business in China, Portuguese one, are more related to trade, small business. But hopefully, after this agreement, we will have more opportunities to do biggest operations or transactions, which is not very common until today, from Portugal to China, not the opposite.
Okay, thank you, An. Michael, another question for you from Paulo.
Yes.
Does your association only help Chinese students and youth who return from overseas, or do you also try to accommodate older people and families who left China and spent their adult lives working overseas, or even Chinese people who were born overseas but are trying to settle in China?
Well, actually, first of all, I would like to know the definition of older, or adult life, or older people, because we have got members. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
No, just to answer, because you wanted the definition, but I didn't make it clear. So I'm sorry, I must apologize, but I want to make clear the question that I was asking, which is, I'm not saying older in the sense of, having an older age, but because you mentioned that the association that you work with kind of caters to people who studied abroad, but there's some generations of before us, people weren't going overseas to study, but instead to work. That's really what I was referring to.
All right. Okay. Sure.
Thank you.
Actually, we help people that have foreign experience to come back to work and live back in China. So basically, we help all people that with the overseas experience. And when they want to settle down, settle back in China, we will help them in the areas, like I said, social networking, business matchmaking, and startup, fundraising, and also job finding as well. But of course, our main focus is still mainly for young people, and for maybe older people with more experience and maybe more successful business. We can also connect them to the a bigger or more governmental associations which dedicated to help this group of people.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So there's no other questions? If no one wants to pose any other question? No?
I would like that, Michael, can you explain a little bit more about your new project related with the future? Can the 3P,
Okay.
3Fs, please?
Yeah, actually, yeah. When Alberto bring the Business Rail group from Europe to China in 2019, we started this new initiative called the Triple F. Okay, the Triple F, and which stands for the Future Finder Forum. Okay, so it's a initiative for helping to promote internationalization in terms of business and culture, and also to help young people to find jobs and start their business, and also to promote technology innovation and green development. Okay, that's the goal of the forum. And we also would like to it was a very successful event, and a lot of people in China with overseas background were very interested in this project. And we also hope to extend this idea to more countries and more areas around the world, to promote those ideas, because I think nowadays, especially during the pandemic, we can see there are a lot of different practice towards the prevention of COVID, and also the different kinds of business and living. And I think to share those experience and knowledge and know-how is actually important. And also to and also we would like to have a network of people, below maybe or around below 50, okay, between the age of 30 to 50, okay, which mainly people with established experience in business, okay, to help them to grow their business and life better, and also share their experience to different people around the world. Okay, so if anybody that's interested in this idea, you're very welcome to discuss with me. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael.
I also would like just to say that under Jan, what we did, because of course we got lots of fake people experience, and with time we got older, yeah. So that is something that we got with time. So what we solved was bringing more advisories. So we created the presidency, the vice presidency, the task force, and the lots of head of committees. So people that is related, for example, with sustainability committee, with the Young Entrepreneurs Corporation, with the Tourism Committee, the Security International Management Robotics. That is something that also Michael is also advisory, because Michael organized the biggest exhibition of cybersecurity in China. So that is huge, the event that you organize in Shenzhen. Then we also, for example, we have the Software Development Task Force. We have the head of small and medium companies internationalization. We have the head of agriculture and rural area integration. We have the head of innovation on technologies, the digitalization committee, the head of the development cooperation task force, the head of strategic task force, the head of the European Relations Committee, the Women Rights, Cultural and Education, and the Women Committee, and the organization of events. Then what we did, we put advisory board. And under our advisory board, we put people more than 40 years old, that with lots of experience, that are helping a lot. And they are outside of, most of them are Europeans, but some also outside of Europe, from regions where we believe that is really important to get people to support our ideas. And so Michael Young is one of our advisory boards. And that is not so old, but is one of the ways that we bring someone of outside of Europe. So is the idea is that if he's outside of Europe, to become member in some way in Jan needs to be advisory board, and if he's inside of Europe and if he's a little bit older than us, um, needs to become advisory board. I'm already 36 years old. I also like to announce that we're gonna get the elections now on AJEPC end of this month. So will be 27th of March on Saturday. Will be part of people, will be personal, but also online. So for the members that are here, just to a little bit remind to, if you want to participate, okay. I hope that Hun became the president, that she go ahead with the new presidency of a GPC. Let's see, let's speak during the next week, okay? But the most important is also to make a cycle. So we need to understand that associations are volunteers, and most of our kind of association are volunteer. We need people that are with blood and with the strong enough to keep our projects, and of course with the support with the more mature persons like Carolina, that I believe that you're going to keep it in AJEPC also to support the new presidency. And
it's a very nice way to call me old.
Yeah, no, it's not
a very
old.
nice way to call
It's
me old.
mature. It's mature. Comparing here with Doom and with the most younger ones, like Nuno Salial is also a mature person, so he's advisory, someone that is giving us the advices. The associations needs to live with all kind of ages, and we are much more stronger if we can combine and if you can make on a result of a good product. So what I want to say, no matter if he's on Jan, no matter if he's on AGPC or even on a federation on behalf of Paulo, that now is the president. I was the president of federation from 2015 to 2019. Now I'm assistant of Paulo. I'm here to support Paulo anything that he needs, because this is the kind of level of associations we need to support. We need to keep working together, and no matter the position, what is important is that we are working together and we fulfill an agenda, and we are ready to accomplish it. We need to work between us. Of course, we need to see what is the policies and kind of incentives that we can work together. But we know that mostly here in Europe, there are things that is very complicated, so, and makes the things even more complicated. So the only situation and the way that we solve that is keeping happy, try to get the satisfaction of an entrepreneur, that is get a goal and go till the end to submit their own projects. And the most happiness that we can have, and that association is like the same of an entrepreneurship, is when we made our projects done, and we realize that we are going on a good way. But we never know when is the good way, or if we achieve or not. So that is something that we need the history and we need time. And because of that, it's really important to be with us, our advisories, because it's people with more experience, and that sometimes let us say us a little bit to go a little bit slower, with more patience, because it's really important also to combine all these things. And because of that, it also needs to get the young people with 20s to have all the strong, and to get all the fast, and the people from the 30s a little bit more mature. And then with the ones that are already with the 40 a little bit higher became advisories, because there are lots of they have more 40 years at least to support the association. So when they reach the 40s, we suppose that is already in the middle age nowadays. So I believe that we need to work all that together. And saying that under Jan, our calendar is very important to work to AJEPC, because AJEPC is the association that represents two completely different regions. And AJEPC also have a very strong connection with Macau and Hong Kong. So I can say that AJEPC is a little bit the vehicle from all the associations right now that belongs to JAN. The relations to China goes through AJEPC. Because of that, in many events that we organized in the last years in China, there are always participants from other countries to work and go with us on the missions. The same with the Latin Americas and the other Portuguese-speaking countries, because AJEPC supported and helped other Chamber of Commerce and Young Entrepreneurs Associations from the Portuguese and the Spanish-speaking countries, and is also AJEPC is also working together with other associations, and is a little bit playing a role of a little bit of advisory. So I believe that for the young entrepreneurs that are here listening us, please approach UN, try to check a little bit more about our association. For the ones that are already representatives of associations, please speak with Paulo if you want to get on this bridge between Latin America, Portuguese-speaking countries, and China. And of course, for our agenda and the daily things, please approach Carolina, okay? That will got lots of news to tell you. I hope that this webinar was successful. At least that will give us a little bit more ideas about all the things that is happening now, and mostly also to say that AJEPC, like you can see, is with a good contacts with other associations. And nowadays, with the election to be the president of JAN for the next 3 years, I believe that we're going to get even a stronger player. And we hope to achieve our goal on AJEPC, that was making Portugal the bridge between the Latin Americas with Africa and China. So some projects like FIN is really important for us, and we're going to keep supporting it on JAN umbrella. And I hope to be with you all personally very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. I'm just going to take this opportunity to let you know that we will do some other meetings. We are closing the schedule, and I will post it on our website. And also, if you want, you can send me an email to ajepc at ajepc.com, and I will share the calendar with you. Also in August, in a date that it's still to be determined, we will have the MyCEF, an exhibition in Macau, connected with smart cities, environment, and everything on the green industry. So if you have interest, please see our social media and our website, because the information will be there as soon as it's available to us. The Macau International Fair this year will be on from the 21st to the 23rd October. So for people that are interested, we also have the date. You can put it on your calendar. And FIN, because of COVID, we decided to make it again in November this year. We hope that this year we will all be in person here in Portugal. And it will be on the 25th and 26th of November. So you can put it on your calendar too. And we hope to see you all on one of these events. Any questions, please do send us an email. And thank you. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye. See you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.